After announcing his return to the UFC,
Jose Aldo Jr. Conor relaxed and smiling. Oh! Just slipped him! Conor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world!
the notorious Conor McGregor seems to be attracting a lot of attention, with Jorge Masvidal being the most recent fighter to call him out. Here's what he had to say. For starters, Conor's been dodging him for the longest time. This isn't the first time Masvidal has called Conor out, and if you ask me, it won't be the last either. Street Jesus has offered to fight the Irishman on multiple occasions. And after the former double champ announced his return to the promotion, Gamebred once again offered to entertain him for his comeback. But instead of getting the money fight everyone was after, the UFC booked Masvidal to square off against the dangerous Gilbert Burns at UFC 287.
Keep up this pace, cardio outstanding. Last
there it
time
is.
out.
That's in, ladies and gentlemen. That's all she wrote.
Back to the bread and butter, Gilbert Torino Burns by submission.
Conor, on the other hand, will be fighting Michael Chandler in a high-voltage comeback fight set to make millions in profit. And while it's super obvious Gamebred wanted this fight because of the money, he claims the Irishman's afraid of this matchup because he knows he'll lose. Masvidal also said it's not just going to be an ordinary loss or something. No, sir. He would have hurt Conor bad, damaging his image and brand at the same time. And I'll get to why he thinks that in a bit. But did you know Masvidal claims even the UFC has tried its level best to get the Irishman to take the fight?
Listen to this place.
Oh, big shots by McGregor.
Look at the clock closely. 10 seconds.
Oh, he's hurt.
Could he finish him here? Conor McGregor is the UFC interim featherweight champion.
Every time the UFC's brought it up, he shoots it down. I don't know why. I think I might know why, and I don't have anything against Jorge, but maybe it's because the fight makes absolutely no sense. But what do I mean by that? Well, it's not like they have bad blood or something. I want you to think about the Conor versus Khabib fight.
There's the choke.
He's got it. It's under the neck.
There it is.
Nope, it's on the chin.
There's the tap. Still undisputed. Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Now that was a fight any fan could have seen happening from a mile away. You just knew it was a time bomb waiting to explode. But whenever I think about McGregor fighting Masvidal, it just doesn't make sense. Sure, they've gone back and forth in the past, but it's not like there's bad blood between them. And even if there was, would Conor be interested in stepping up a weight class just to fight Gamebred? I reckon he'd probably do that if there was a title on the line or something. But a regular fight? No way. There's nothing in it for him. And I know what you're thinking right now. There are rumors going around about how Conor will be fighting at welterweight when he finally returns.
Alvarez getting loose, getting better here in this round, though.
Oh, man.
Until that.
Oh, he's done. He's done.
History has been made. Conor McGregor is the UFC lightweight champion.
Wasn't a fight against Jorge possible in that case? Well, whether you like it or not, the 38-year-old isn't exactly a prize fight or something. The Irishman had much better opportunities on the table. And if you ask me, he made the best decision by deciding to square off against Chandler. It's a fight that makes sense. Both fighters are explosive.
Hands at his hips, having a
he heard
conversation, looking to finish the fight.
That's it. Wow.
And prefer to battle it out on their feet instead of taking it to the mats. But that's not what Masvidal. He claims to be a better fighter than Conor. Look, I'm not saying Jorge had a below-average career or something, but you'd have to be a fool to think he's not well past his prime now. He's literally 38 years old, and I think he's gonna get thrashed at UFC 287. So when he comes out and says things like how he's faster and bigger than Conor, I can't help but wonder why he doesn't just admit it's all about the money, like how Oliveira and Volkanovski did. But it doesn't just end there. The 38-year-old said the only reason why the Notorious shut down the fight is that he doesn't want to get embarrassed. Masvidal claims he would have destroyed Conor in a stand-up contest with his elite-level striking. In a striking contest, I think McGregor easily outclasses the American, but let's be real here. It's not like the former double champ is in the best form either. The last time he won a fight was back in 2016. It's been 7 years since he won a fight. Just let that sink in for a second. And at the same time, Jorge hasn't done anything significant either after that spectacular knockout of Ben Askren.
Is brought to you by Modelo. One of the greatest knockouts you'll ever see.
Oh, my goodness.
Askren stiff as a board.
But yeah, I still think Gamebred should just come clean about wanting a money fight instead of making up stories about how he'll do this and that. Plus, isn't this guy still facing legal action for jumping Colby? I'm sure all of you are familiar with what happened outside that restaurant in Miami. A salty Masvidal sucker punched Covington after losing a fight at the UFC. I mean, if anything, that's embarrassing. He can talk all he wants about how he'll destroy McGregor's brand if they ever fight, but does he even realize how he's already destroyed his own? Gamebred is still facing legal action, and it's not like he's a stranger to what it's done for his career. He talked about how he had to lay low and had no interest in fighting because of the pressure. And while he's pleaded not guilty, I think he might just end up facing a penalty because he hurt Colby real bad. And honestly speaking, it doesn't look good on the UFC's part either. The guy literally has a pending lawsuit, and you're booking him for a fight? So when you think about it, it's pretty clear why he's never gonna get the McGregor fight now. Enough with all that though. Let's talk about Conor's much-awaited return to the promotion. I'll start with season 31 of The Ultimate Fighter. About a few weeks back, UFC President Dana White announced the 2 coaches for season 31 of The Ultimate Fighter. It's gonna be Conor McGregor, ladies and gentlemen, coaching opposite the exciting Michael Chandler. And after that's done, both coaches will battle it out in a high-voltage matchup sometime later this year. But before everyone gets too excited, McGregor still has to be tested, and I'll get to that in a bit. But first, I just want to talk about why Chandler got this fight and no one else. There were 3 main contenders for a comeback fight against the Notorious: Michael Chandler, Alexander Volkanovski, and Tony Ferguson. Masvidal had been making a lot of noise, but I think you all know why he didn't get it. Anyway, Chandler was the best bet because Ferguson is clearly done. Every time he steps inside the cage, he gets bashed. And while their names would have looked good on a card, it wouldn't have been a competitive battle. Volka, on the other hand, is a straight-up killer.
Oh, huge ground strikes from Volkanovski. One of the best title rounds you will see. Whoa! 25 minutes turned in.
You could argue he's still in his prime or the later stages of it. So that would have been a bad matchup for Conor, leaving behind the exciting Michael Chandler. And when you compare their fighting styles, both gentlemen like to come out and step in the line of fire.
But honestly, was a
giving the fight potential to be the biggest MMA event of this year. Finally, before wrapping up this video, what's all the USADA drama? Conor needs to be in the testing pool for at least 6 months before he can fight again. And if he gets an exemption, he only needs to be tested twice. But we're already in February and there's no news of him having rejoined the testing pool. And since filming for The Ultimate Fighter will end sometime in August, when does he even plan to fight? Is the fight even on for 2023? Or is it going to be in early 2024? Who knows? Dana has only confirmed his comeback, but still has to give fans a date as to when it'll all happen. Anyway, that's everything Masvidal had to say about Conor. Thanks for watching and see you soon.